Back to the daily grind, and y'all know we gotta talk about this. But before we do, make sure you hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not wearing your clown shoes, cause you know what time it is. It's full time!
MMA.
And we're back to betting on the fights with fake money, episode I believe 22, and if not for sure 223. Last week we bet on both UFC Austin, which the main event was Donald Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros, and then also Bellator 194, Roy Nelson Big Country versus Matt Mitrione. And if you hear some crunching in the background, that's my dog. He's killing some shit, ain't he? Damn, homie. He's got a bone crunched up, but hey, it is what it is. Bear with me. With that being said, let's get to these results, because we won some money this week. Should be quick. I mean, there's only 4 fights this weekend, so it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, only 4 fights we're betting on, and there's only, I'm not gonna spoil it, but all I'm saying is this week you can see, or last week you can see, there was 10 fights for us to bet on, and I'm about to get my dog out of this room. Hey Rama, 1 second, homie. 1 second, homie. Chill out. Alright, now we're in the game. Last week there was 10 fights for us to bet on. 11 fights for us to bet on. 5 Bellator, 6 UFC, so there's 11 total fights. This week there's only 11. So last week we had a lot of action and we had a lot of success. This is what happened. Let's get into it, starting with the bets we placed in episode 21. Now, with that being said, we started with the Bellator bets. We bet $50 on Vadim Nemkov, who ended up winning his fight. We also bet $100 on Derek Campos, who ended up losing his fight. Those were the only fights we bet on in Bellator. Now, when we went to UFC Austin, we had $50 on UFC debut Curtis Millender. He was making his UFC debut, UFC newcomer. He ended up winning in that fight versus Thiago Alves via knockout. Then Francisco Trinaldo was fighting James Vick. He was a pretty big underdog, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was a pretty big underdog. We lost that bet. We didn't bet. You know, I wasn't super confident there with the prediction, so I didn't put that much money there, even though he was an underdog and we predicted him to win Trinaldo. Now, with that being said, in the main event and the co-main event, we had success. We bet $93 on Derek Lewis, who was losing the fight, came back in the 3rd round, got a big knockout over Marcin Tybura. And so we got that bet and we won some money there. Derek Lewis was in the co-main event at home. Andy was an underdog, so that we won some money there, which we will see in just a second. Donald Cerrone, we bet $50 there, and hey, we won. So with that being said, why some people might be new to this, I usually do this at the beginning, but hey, this is episode 22. Welcome. I'll explain it now. This isn't real money I'm betting with. I started off with $500 in like a bankroll, essentially writ it on paper, and so I'll follow with the odds online. You can go to bestfightodds.com and you can see all the odds, and then there's an odds calculator for me to calculate all the odds and stuff. So I'm just keeping up with the $500 bankroll. I'm not just, you know, I started off with $500 and I didn't go balls deep and just bet all 500, you know, and go broke. I actually just, you know, I'm betting like $50, $100, $50. I still got 300 left for next week. So that's what we're doing with this. So we started off at 500. We've been up to about 1100 and we're almost back up to there now. We took a loss a couple of weeks ago, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get to how much money we won this week, the fun part. All right, so first we had, boom, all of these wins. You can see Derek Campos and Francisco Trinaldo, the red ticks, we lost those bets, and so we don't make any money back off of those. But we do make money back off of Vadim Nemkov, $105 off of the bets we placed, $122 off of Curtis Millender's fight, $211 fake dollars off of the Derek Lewis fight, $84.48 off of the Donald Cowboy Cerrone win. And so when you total all of those up, the total payout is $523.07. Now, that $400 that you add that to comes from how much money we had after we placed our bets, because when you add up how much money we bet in all last week, it came up to $393, as you can see. And so we had $400 left, even if we were to lose every single bet. But we didn't. We only lost those 2, so we don't take those away again. We just add all of these together, and we get to $523 total payout. Now, that's not how much we actually just earned, because you have to keep in mind the bets placed, but That's how much money we make back, and we go up to a total of $923 to bet with this week. $923.07. So let's get to this week's fights. We've got Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stephens in the main event. Tisha Torres and Jessica Andrade in the co-main. Mike Perry versus Max Griffin, and Ovin St. Preux versus Ilir Latifi. This is a big Fox card. It's going to be earlier in the day. That's why there's only 4 fights on the main card. And so there's not really, I'm picking Mike Perry and Jessica Andrade to win, and they're also big favorites. So I'm not going to bet against my prediction. And also, I don't want to bet $50 to win, like, $20 profit. It's just not worth it, or $100, you know what I'm saying? So it's just not worth it to me. So I'm not even going to bet on those 2 fights. So since I'm not betting on those, and there's only 2 fights we're betting on, I upped it. Normally I might only bet $50 on each of these fights, but since we're not betting on any other fights, and I predicted both of these guys to win, I'm going to make it a little more interesting. $73.07 on Ovin St. Preux to kind of even it up a little bit if we were happen to lose. And also, I'm going to bet $150 on Josh Emmett. Now, this is interesting. Both of these fights are almost coin flips in my mind. Ovin St. Preux versus Ilir Latifi for sure. That's a pick 'em. Now, Jeremy Stephens is actually the lower ranked favorite in this fight. He's the more experienced fighter. But Josh Emmett is a very well-rounded fighter who just bursted onto the scene by knocking out Ricardo Lamas. He just bursted into the top 5. So a lot of people still don't know much about Josh Emmett or about his game. He hasn't really been on a lot of people's radars. His first 4 fights in the UFC were all decisions. He went 3-1. But then he earned his knockout over Ricardo Lamas. Now everyone knows who he is, but they don't know much about him still. He's fighting out of Team Alpha Male, and he has solid wrestling, which Jeremy Stephens has shown. Just, Jeremy Stephens, he's more of a boxer. He's, a heavy-handed fighter. He's a fan favorite. But he has shown susceptibility to takedowns again when he's won against high-level wrestlers. Now, Josh Emmett is not Frankie Edgar, but I do think Josh Emmett, if the striking does not go his way, will have his wrestling in his back pocket to rely on in this fight. So, since Josh Emmett I predicted to win, and he's the underdog, I'll put $150 on Josh Emmett, fake dollars of course, but it is what it is, man. So when you add the 150 and the 73, we're going to have a total of $223.07 bets placed, and no matter what, even if we lose both of these predictions and bets, we'll still have $700 for next week's fights, which I believe is UFC 222, Chris Cyborg versus Yana Kunitskaya, and Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega. So with that being said, this was Betting on the Fights with Fake Money, episode 22, I believe. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G!